Okay, here we are at our last topic in our statistics unit, and that's relative frequency. And it's exactly what it sounds like, how frequent something occurs. So relative frequency is a little different than just frequency. So frequency is the number of times that something happens. Well, relative frequency tells us the number of times something occurs compared to our total. So relative frequency is making a comparison. Typically, when we make a comparison in math, we use a ratio. So to find relative frequency, we create a ratio. And that's a ratio of how often it happened, what we're looking for specifically, over the total. Then we just make that ratio a percent, okay? So to make a fraction of percent, we divide and times it by 100. So that is something I would write in. We're gonna do some examples, but to make it a percent, we divide and then times that answer by 100. That's gonna give us our percent, okay? Now we have to read very, very carefully to determine whether the total is referring to an entire table or a specific row or sometimes a column. So we have to be careful. We have to read. That's why I've been giving you things the way I've been giving them to you, so it's forcing you to slow down and read. So let's look at this first example. In a survey of 50 people, 23 answered that their favorite ice cream flavor was vanilla. What is the relative frequency of individuals who chose vanilla? So let's go back for a second and we're going to highlight. There were 50 people surveyed, correct? So there, right there, ladies and gentlemen, that's our total. Okay? We know there was a total of 50 people. 23 said their favorite flavor was vanilla. Well, that's our frequency, 23. So in order to do this, in a calculator, so take your calculators. We would type 23. This is the one that always goes in first. If you're doing this on paper, this would go inside here. This is how we make a fraction a decimal. Okay, so 23 is in your calculator. Divide by 50, okay? And if you were doing this by hand, the 50 would go out here. This gives us 0.46. Well, there's two ways to make a decimal a percent. We times it by 100, okay? Or we just move our decimal point twice. So this is 46%, meaning 46% of those people surveyed said they like vanilla, okay? So let's look at this next one. First, we got to figure out this two-way table. This is what we did the other day, so we got to complete our two-way table. We need to know our totals. Well, people that floss regularly and go to the gym, they're concerned with their health, I guess. I don't know why we want to know those two facts, but we do. So here, my total that floss, just the total that floss, is 32. I just add this way. Okay. My total who don't floss regularly, again, we're just adding, is 68. Then I'm going to go down this way to find out how many have a gym membership. I add 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 plus 2 is 4. 11 plus 44 is 55. Now, if I add these things together, I get 45 plus 55 is 100, and 32 plus 68 is 100. So we need to understand something here. This is the total number of people surveyed in all. Whereas we have these other totals where this is the total number of people that floss. Okay? So remember, we have to know which total we're trying to work with. So if we come here, of the people surveyed, so of the people surveyed, I'm going to look at my total. What is the relative frequency of people who floss regularly? They just want all the people that floss regularly. So our ratio would be, there was, let's erase this for a second so that we can go to pen. There were 100 people surveyed. 32 floss regularly. Now, if you know your percent aspects, anything over 100 is that percent. But you could do your calculator work. So this is 32%. Was a 32 out of 100? It's a 32%. So let's go to our next one. Of the people who own a gym membership. So we're looking at those that own a gym membership. So of these people, what is the relative frequency of people who floss regularly? So I'm only looking at these 45. That's the total I'm focused on because I only want the people that have a gym membership. And they want now floss regularly is 21. Here's where your calculator comes in. We do 21 divided by 45 and we get a repeating decimal. Okay, so it's 0.46 repeating. So we're going to write 46.7%. So I'm going to tell you now throughout this lesson, if you have a repeating, round to the nearest tenth, because that's what I just want you to round to. Okay, so here, this is our same table. We're just going to extend and answer 5 and 6. So of the people who do not own a gym membership, so now we're looking at this total, ladies and gentlemen. What is the relative frequency of people who do floss regularly? So we're looking at 11 out of 55, okay? And if we go to our calculator and we put that in, we get 0.2, but I have to times that by 100, so it's really 20% of individuals that do not own a gym membership floss regularly. So what they're wanting to know is, does there seem to be a relationship between people who own a gym membership and people who floss regularly? Well, there might be, okay? But when we look at this, those that own a gym membership and floss regularly, that's 21 out of the 32 total. So if I were to go calculate this, I end up with it's approximately 66%. That's a pretty strong relationship, okay? Meaning more people that own a gym membership floss regularly than those that don't. So we're looking at our percent values here, okay? And we're going to talk more about this tomorrow. And how we can figure out if there is a relationship or not. Okay, so Liz wanted to see if there was any association between people who have kids and people who have pets, okay? So what we're trying to figure out here, ladies and gentlemen, is there an association? So this one's a little, in my opinion, a little easier to figure out, okay? The gym membership was kind of in the middle, so it might not be as easy for your brains to see it. So I'm going to show you with this one, okay? So first, before we can do that, we need to complete our two-way table. So pause now and complete it. Okay, so if we complete our table, okay, let's take a look at this so we can determine everything. All right, so our table should show us, if you did this properly, the number of kids that have pets is 41. We had to fill in 39, 62, 64, and 61. So if we want to know the number of people who were surveyed, so the total number of people surveyed was 125. What is the frequency of those that have pets? So there's 64 that have pets out of the 125. When I make this a decimal, it's 0.51, which is 51%. Meaning just about half, a little over half, have pets. But of the people who have kids, okay, the relative frequency of those that have pets is 41 out of 63 this time, which is 65%. So we need to compare those that have pets with those that have pets and kids, okay? So, and those that do not have kids, what's the relative frequency of people who have pets? So it's those that do not have kids. They want to know how many are in, we're looking at here. The people that do not have kids, how many have pets? That's 23 out of 62, and that's 37%. So here's a better looking at things because we're able to compare. On the last one, we didn't kind of find all those pieces. We found some of them. But if we look at this, we know of all the people surveyed, 51 have pets. When we break that percentage down, okay, 65 had kids, 37 did not. So there does seem to be an association. So we would put yes, because people with kids are more likely to have a pet. Okay, because look at our percents in comparisons of everything. Okay, so let's look at number 8. I want you to fill in this two-way table now, and then I will help you answer some of these questions. Okay. Josh was testing his theory that red cars get more speeding tickets. So he did a survey. So let's fill in our two-way table. We should have 128 here. So there was 128 speeding tickets. 29 that have a red car didn't get one. 63 did not get one that had a blue car. So we fill in 150 here, and this is 220. So of the people surveyed, so we're looking at our total, which was 220, what percent received a speeding ticket? So we're going to go to who got a speeding ticket, and that's at 128. So we got to compare our total. We had 58%. So of all those people he asked, 58% got a speeding ticket. But now we're going to go hone in more. Of those that got the speeding ticket, what percent drove a red vehicle? So we know that there were 70 people who just drive a red vehicle, right? Okay. Of those 70 that drive a red vehicle, how many got a speeding ticket? 41. So when we calculate this, 59%. So 59% of those red car owners got a speeding ticket. Let's go see what percent of the blue cars got a speeding ticket. So we have to see, we had 150 blue cars. 87 got a speeding ticket. So 58%. So the reason we have to compare both is because he actually asked more people with blue cars. So we still have to break each one down in comparison. So when you look at all these numbers, they're all within a percent of each other or the same. So you cannot make that assumption that people who drive red vehicles do not seem more likely. They're about even, okay? So not more likely. Of course, we would write this in more detail because you will have a short answer reply. But you could say people who drive red vehicles do not seem more likely to receive speeding tickets than those who drive blue. So all I did was transfer over our table from example 8, And I want you to answer number 9 on your own. If you want the full 10 points for this homework, you need to answer A, B, and C and show me the work of how you calculated those. Guys, we're coming to the end here and we're giving up, some of us. So we need to finish strong. I told you this quarter was going to go fast. There's a lot of accountability because we have a test coming up. So please stay on top of your work.